Good evening. Welcome to Career Corner. I'm your host, Bert Wiedemeyer. My guest tonight is a man who has touched all our lives. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tooth Fairy. You have been around as long as I can remember, Mr. Fairy. How long have you held your present job?
Forever I've been doing this, basically, forever.
And now you're about to change careers. Why?
Well, see, for every tooth I pick up, right, I gotta leave a dime under the pillow, okay? Now, then I gotta take the tooth up to God, and he give me 12 cents, okay? Now, when you subtract the dime I done put out in my pocket already, that leave me clearing 2 cents. Now, I don't know where you come from, but 2 cents ain't a lot of money in my neighborhood, you know?
No, it's not.
Yeah, but sometimes, too, I be getting ripped off by little kids, you know, they be putting, like, Tic Tacs under their pillows, right? And in the dark, you can't tell the difference. I think, you know, they teeth, right? So I take it up to God, right? You know how it feels to give God a bag full of Tic Tacs? I almost got fired once. He thought I was trying to tell him his breath stank.
Well, actually, that's a revelation. I never thought of your job as being dangerous.
Dangerous. And most people, normal people, panic when they walk in their kid's room and see a big black guy standing there in a tutu, all right? Big bag of dimes over their shoulder. I have been shot 6 times. I got bit by 37 Doberman pinchers, and I had my behind kicked so many times I don't even want to talk about it no more.
Oh, come on, Mr. Fairy. You must get some sort of gratification from your work.
No.
Well, come on. Everybody loves the Tooth Fairy.
No, they don't, man. I don't get no letters, no thank yous, no nothing, all right? And I'm a fairy, damn it. I have feelings, too, okay?
Well, what if you had your own special day?
What you mean?
Well, you know, a day set aside just for you. You know, like your own holiday.
Oh, you mean like Tooth Day?
Yeah.
Wow, Tooth Day. Everybody can wrap their teeth up in little cellophane paper, you know, and put under a tree, right? Then I can come down the chimney and they leave me milk and cookies and everything.
Hold on, that sounds an awful lot like Christmas.
Yeah, we can have 2 Christmases then.
No, I don't think so.
Why not? One for me and one for him.
No, it's, look, I'm sorry.
I do a better job than Santa
No,
Claus, man.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid
It's
our
because
time
he's
is up.
white, right? That's what
Good night, everyone. Come on,
Welcome to Flyby Films once or twice a month, using the magic of distance-defying tubes or some stupid shit like that. We get together to discuss films that either have been or will be forgotten. And I think that's the beauty of Oz Perkins. He's a great director. Most of his movies get forgotten. That's part of the reason why we're doing it. In honor of him. I am Blake Collier. And with me tonight, across the universe in Chico, California, is my friend and smart mathematique, Jameson Barsotti. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm wondering, do you have a math question to ask me? Is that why you brought this up?
No, I was just I'm always in awe of how smart you are. So,
it's mutual. I think you've got great thoughts on film, and you can write well. So
hey, I'll take it.
We've got different strengths.
Yep, and then we come together and we combine those strengths into the greatest podcast ever made.
Oh yeah, clearly the best.
We're just unknown at the time. We're like Osgood Perkins. One day we'll have our long legs, and it's gonna be grand.
Well, we're not a Nepo podcast.
That is true. We are not a Nepo podcast.
Yeah, Osgood Perkins is a Nepo baby. We can't forget about that.
Yes. He's rich and powerful. Let us not forget that all people who make movies are rich and powerful.
All people.
All people. Even the ones who just upload them to YouTube. Rich and powerful. Because ain't no one got time for that shit.
Yeah. They gotta go make money, so that's why they're uploading it to YouTube.
So yeah, this is our 3rd episode of the
What's the name of it again?
The aptly named. Hey guys, we're Perkin on Perkins.
Yeah. What is it? Flyby Films, Spooktacular, Spookfest. We're
3.
Perkin on Perkins.
Perkin
3.
on Perkins.
Perkin on Perkins.
Yep, that's right. It's just gonna be a really long title each time.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. On this episode, we're going to talk about Osgood Perkins' third film. Both third made and third released, unlike the first two, which were a little janky.
You got it straightened out.
Gretel and Hansel. Because he recognized the moment in time he was in, and he's like, I'm not going to put the man first. No way. No way, no how. Putting the woman first.
Well, we do need to talk about this, right? We need to talk about... I don't know when it was going to be brought up, but we need to talk about Osgood Perkins' obsession with young women.
That makes us sound really bad.
It does, and that's why I phrased it like that. Yeah. Because it's a thing. And I'm not saying it's bad. I actually think that he writes interesting characters, and they happen to be women. But every single movie that he's made has had a young woman, either from young, like pre-adulthood, on the cusp of adulthood,
or just after adulthood,
or just after, to, I think the oldest main character that he's had was I am the pretty thing that lives in this house, like that character. Although Micah Monroe's in the house, in a house, in this old house,
Micah Monroe was actually the youngest, but I don't think she plays the youngest.
No, I think Gretel and Hansel is the youngest.
But yes, but I'm saying of the post-adult, not the pre-adolescent, not the adolescent players. Yeah. I think definitely Sophia Lillis, or whatever her name is the youngest by far. So
yeah. Although Kiernan Shipka was pretty young when they filmed Blackcoat's Daughter.
Okay.
Which is pretty ballsy, given that she murders, I think she has the highest kill count of any character in his movies. On screen kill count. Because I know Nicolas Cage doesn't even kill anyone.
No.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Longlegs.
I mean, come on. If you haven't seen it, what the fuck are you doing with your life?
Yeah. Definitely watch it before you listen to the episode if you're planning on watching it.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah. Before we talk too much more about the movie, and we can get into Osgood Perkins, why he always chooses kind of young female characters as his main characters. How are you doing, Blake?
Well, you know what, Jameson? I'm doing just as well as on episode 1.
Oh. I liked that I asked you that question right as you were about to drink something and clear your throat. And you had to stop and answer my question.
Well, I mean, it's a fair expectation. I should have known better than to try to get a drink in that exact moment.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about your life when we recorded just an hour ago. But we didn't get into depth on, how work is going. You mentioned your kids are assholes. That can happen. But, Seamus is almost 4.
Yeah,
he's on the cusp. Yeah. And Hazel is going to be 2 in 2 months. So I'm... Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh, man. It is nuts.
Yeah. So what is the most dad thing you've done since we've talked?
Like, since the last time we recorded?
Yeah. I know we talk a lot by text.
Yeah.
What are some big dad
thing
moments?
I've done.
Big dad moment.
Big dad moment.
Big dad energy. BDE.
Oh, well, that's me telling jokes. Always. I think probably the most dad thing I've done is I have a tendency to play Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song in the car after I pick up my kids and sing along to it poorly. And Seamus particularly likes that.
That is wonderful.
He will ask me to put on I think he calls it the Winter Moon Song. That's the lyric he hears in the song. And so, Daddy, put on the Winter Moon Song. And then he apparently likes to translate for Owen, who is still not vocal in the same way. He likes to translate his noises and say, he really likes this song. He thinks this song is great.
Yeah, of course.
That's probably the most dad thing that's happened.
That's pretty cool. I like
How
that.
about you? What's the most dad thing that you've done since?
What's the most dad thing? Well, I like to wrestle with Hazel, and it's become kind of a ritual where I work. My office is in my bedroom, and it's just kind of a desk, kind of set apart. And he'll like come home from daycare. He might come home from swim class, which is Mondays, where he doesn't have daycare on Mondays, but he always like runs in, and then we always just have I throw him on the bed a couple times. He like asks for shoulders, which means I put him on my shoulders and then I lean back and drop him off onto the bed. And he just loves this, and it's just become kind of this like almost everyday routine where he knows kind of I'm at the end of it's really sweet, and I really love it. He's in such a sweet phase right now. I know kids change and there's going to be other phases and things, so I'm just really appreciative of how loving and sweet and fun and funny he is right now. It's great. So he does scream, which sucks, but
is it a happy scream or is it like a I'm pissed scream?
It's like I'm making this. Did you ever watch Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah,
of course you did. It's like when Jim Carrey goes, "Hey, do you want to hear the most annoying noise in the world?" Yeah. It's just for the hell of it.
Okay.
He screams. So.
Fair enough. Nothing wrong with that.
Sometimes
you just got your screams out.
Another dad thing I did that's unrelated to being a dad, but feels very stereotypical dad, is I bought an air fryer from Costco this week.
Dude, air fryers are the shit.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love me some air fryers.
Yeah, so
I also have a tendency to burn stuff because I don't get it out soon enough.
You fry it too much.
Yeah, I fry it too much. Too much air. Too much
too much air. Yeah. Who knew that blowing on something just over and over again would burn it?
I mean, dragons.
That's true. We should just call them dragon toasters.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole house of them at one point. Anyways,
have you been? Do you ever watch?
No. I watched the first season of whatever the fuck the original one was called, and Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
And I was like, yeah, I don't need any of this in my life.
I have not seen one episode of Game of Thrones or House of Dragons.
Yeah, and or Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. I don't care.
I haven't watched that. I haven't watched. I'm the pretty dragon that flies
lives in this cave.
Lives in this throne.
This throne room.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't get with it. It just doesn't do it for me.
It's fine if that's your thing. Look.
No, it's not.
I'm so torn, Blake. I'm trying to be more positive, but should I just embrace my haterness?
I mean, John Simley would deign to say so.
So you texted me this book, and you said, I'm reading this book, and I didn't look into it at all. I just saw the title, and I laughed, and it made me laugh, and then I asked you, if you finished it, or you told me you finished it.
It's a fairly short book.
I don't know anything about this book. So who is the author again? The book is called Hater.
Yeah, the book is called Hater. It's by John Simley. And he happened to write the piece on elevated horror that I sent you. And I at least found the article well written and interesting, so I was like, what else? What other things has this guy written about? And he apparently had a whole book on embracing disagreeability, being a hater, and but it sounds worse than it is. It sounds like a guidebook for trolling, and he very specifically differentiates hating from trolling, because there is a certain, once you cross over into trolling, then you're just doing it for the sake of being an asshole. And he says, no, what actual hating something does is it betters the conversation. It gives the general median appraisal of something to push back against. So his critique is basically, without people who strongly hate something, or at least dislike something strongly, then you're ultimately just going to get a lot of just mid shit constantly. And it actually worsens criticism as a whole, if you're just following the general trends of what's liked and what's not liked. But he goes into some really interesting thing, and in one chapter he actually does like case studies of like people that have generally been at some point been considered haters. One of them particularly is Armand White. Do you know Armand White? Okay, so that's a test case. He actually talks about Armand White, and he says, to Armand's credit, his writing is actually, the guy who wrote this says, I used to read his articles because at least I found it interesting. I didn't always agree, but I found his reasoning interesting. But he said, but is he an actual hater, or is he a troll? And he said, here's the thing, is that I actually interviewed him over dinner one time, and it was like a 2 or 3 hour session, and I came away from that experience saying that he's full of shit. He's crossed that line. He's no longer doing it for the sake of criticism or the sake of enlivening the conversation. He's doing it to be an asshole. And that was his takeaway. He said, but I mean, early on, I would say that he was doing really good criticism, and he just was pushing at the things that people liked, that generally people like, and saying, it's not that great. I think, that's his case. That's what he's trying to write about in the book.
That's interesting. I think the one thing about Armand White and what kind of turned me off to him was I was able to kind of like predict with a pretty high certainty, like, oh, he's not gonna like this, or he is gonna like this, or whatnot. And I was like, this is kind of boring. But when you read his articles, I do think, I think there's still like, oh, he's making good points.
Yeah.
With some things, and it's usually about he has this wealth of film history knowledge, and so when he's kind of on that and kind of doing that rather than talking about more mainstream popular culture things or political things, you can see like coherent criticism in his work. But I think he toes that line and probably trips over it more times than not.
Yeah. And I had never heard of the guy until Get Out. Because at the time he was the lone voice who was in negative critique of the movie. And like, I think it's problematic when everyone jumps on the one guy who says, no, didn't care for it. Come on. Like,
also,
no movie is that perfect.
especially what are you doing this in service of? Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, exactly.
The most soulless aggregate of this stuff that doesn't mean anything, but like it just hurts your brain to see the number 99 when you want it to be 100.
Yeah.
And so you get angry, when it's like, no, your favorite movie can be, a 40% or a 60% or a 70% or whatever. It doesn't matter, yes, there is some value to like saying like, okay, so many of these critics liked it. It has this percentage score. I won't say there's no value to that, but when you take it to the point where you're like, Armand White deserves to die because he
said something negative about this movie.
Said something negative about 99. Brought it down to 99.
It's problematic, and he actually talks about the aggregate rating systems in the book, and how that actually makes culture pretty dull.
I think people have latched onto it in ways that use it in kind of a corporate sense, right? We decide to invest our time only in the things that reach a certain high threshold on this, and that's not a creative use of your time. That's a generic way of going about it. And yes, I've heard all the arguments for it. I've used the arguments for using these things. Like, I know I'm a data scientist. I know how data works. I know how this works. But I also know that when it comes to art and when it comes to deciphering criticism, you can't be that cut and dry about things. And if you're going to try to say that this is the meaningful metric, if you're trying to kind of boil it down to this, you're going to end up with bland, mediocre art. And so, that's interesting. I like that. I think I read through the article that you sent me on elevated horror, and I think I disagreed with some things, and I didn't like it as much as you did. But I think
I thought his examples were horseshit. But
and I think that's the thing that maybe haters could use a little bit of humbleness, but is there a way that we can kind of move forward where people are like, you're just a hater, need to grow a thicker skin, and haters need to figure out that, like, their opinion doesn't mean shit?
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
Is there a world where we could have these things?
Well, and that's exactly what he's talking about, though, is he says just hating on something is not enough. You need to argue it vigorously.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
getting back the actual art of making an argument for why something is not good, and to be vigorous in that argument. He's basically just trying to reclaim criticism, ultimately.
Yeah.
Like, from, your typical Rotten Tomatoes, like, aggregate, like, scoring, and because he says, like, the banality of culture is on the line if you don't.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was a surprisingly good book. I went into it not expecting a whole lot, and came out of it, I was like, one of the better things I've read this year. So,
that's nice.
And it's short too. It's in and out. Doesn't spare, doesn't add any more words than he has to. So, yeah. But you know what? You know what movie I'm not gonna hate on? Gretel and Hansel.
Gretel and Hansel. So it's
Because
that time.
At this time, yes, it's 24 minutes. This time,
shit.
At this time, or at the time that this movie came out, I saw it twice in the theaters because I loved it so much.
Ooh,
Which is
I didn't know that.
That's not common. I don't normally go see. I think the only time I've done that in the recent past was with Parasite and The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
If I could ever go see The Wailing in theaters, I would probably go see it 3 times.
Yeah, man, I'm sad that I'll never get to see that in theater.
Oh, me too.
But yeah, I mean, maybe never say never. Yeah. Old movies make their way to the theaters all the time these days.
So often.
So often.
The art cinemas, man. Sometimes they'll do it.
Yeah.
But yep. I did see it twice.
You saw it twice. I saw it once, but I did see it. I think maybe we were 3 of 50 tickets sold for this movie in its theatrical run.
Yeah.
No, one thing I remember about this movie was, so it was distributed by Orion.
Yeah.
We mentioned this in a previous episode, but Orion is this old school company, and they just fucking dropped the ball with whatever they did, which is really funny because we're coming off of the year of Osgood Perkins, where Neon just kills the marketing on Longlegs. But it's so funny to compare it to how much Gretel and Hansel was bungled. And
because honestly, given the right marketing, I think this movie would have hit.
Potentially, like, and we'll get into this, but it did have a lot going for it. It had like Sophia Lillis was in it,
coming off of it. Yeah,
coming off of it. So she was still kind of in the like glow of being an it girl. No pun intended. But yeah, I think she had like a successful Netflix show at that point.
Yeah,
I don't think she's done much since. Maybe she's doing some TV. I don't know. Who knows? I just hope she's okay. I know that kid actors,
man.
Kid actors and actresses, like, they can get fucked up. So good luck to her. But yeah, she was in this. There was a bunch of folk horror coming out that, I think Midsummer had already come out. And so you had these big, folk horror hits. And then this movie comes out and it was like nothing. There was no noise about it. And I had a similar experience to you. I went to see it and I was like, oh man, this is great. It's an incredible vibey movie. I know we keep saying that, but this is the first movie where he kind of moves away from using his brother as the person for the score, and he gets kind of a almost synthy, almost futuristic artist Rob R-O-B. And
who is well known in the horror soundtrack game. He's done numerous horror soundtracks.
Yeah. I think that this movie fits well with Mandy.
I would agree.
And I said this with I Am the Pretty Thing, but this movie, you could go in with some substances. In fact, I think he's even inviting you to do that.
Yeah.
Given that there is a trip scene.
Yeah.
In the middle,
which is a delight.
A
delight. Adds nothing to the movie. Like, there's no point. Like, there's no real reason to have it in there. But he was like, let's be honest. Kids are hungry. They're wandering around in the woods. They're gonna trip out at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. I was putting myself in their shoes, and I was like, I'll probably eat a mushroom and, trip my balls off. I do like the question she asked the mushroom before she ate it, though.
What was the question? Are you
a kind mushroom? Or are you a kind?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many small things in this movie that I think make it that much more endearing to me. And it's stuff that doesn't need to be there, but it gives us it adds to the general vibe or the feeling of the film. And I mean, good Lord, Alice Krieg. I mean, she's terrifying in this, and she doesn't even have to do anything. She just they basically took away all of her like her hair, put it down in the outfit, and all you see is her face. And of course, I think they added some protrusion to her face and whatnot. But man, I mean, she kills it in this movie. She's amazing in this movie. And once again, I think you could put this in once again the satanic Osgood Perkins Hall of Fame, because I think that's ultimately what he's saying with the witch. She strikes me as a devil character. Once again, I think he's infatuated with this devil character in his films.
Yeah.
I think he just chose to put it in a fairy tale world.
So this movie takes some twists and liberties with the tale. It definitely chooses to go down the dark fairy tale version of it, where it's almost a little confusing, the world that they've set it in, because there's clearly a lot of scarcity. Scarcity is kind of a big theme, name of the game, and there are these two children, Gretel and Hansel, who their mom kind of throws them out at one point because she can't take care of them. So, there's, again, scarcity is kind of throwing them out. But there's a scene, a very strange scene that I don't think the movie ever fully acknowledges again after this, where they go into this house and they get attacked by a zombie-like character, right?
Yep.
Who, so there's, and I think if you read up on this movie, it mentions that there's some sort of like zombie-like virus going around in the area that's causing, that's caused from some sort of scarcity epidemic. And it's not really engaged with that much, which just makes it even stranger.
Yeah.
Too. But then it starts to kind of get into the witch territory, where they meet kind of this old person in this house, and they are entranced by the abundance that this person has. So again, you have the scarcity and you have the abundance, and the abundance is kind of the motivator for propelling the children to kind of want to learn from this person and be drawn more into this devil character's trap. And the devil character kind of takes Gretel under her wing. And that's kind of a big moving forward of the story. So,
but she wants to eat Hansel.
Yes.
She wants to lick his bones.
Yeah, so cannibalism plays a big role in this.
Big role, which, if you know the original fairy tale, makes sense. Which throws them in the oven. I mean, it's right there in print.
Yeah.
I think this is a version of fairy tales that Grimm himself would have been pleased, or Hans Christian Andersen would have been pleased with, because there's some dark shit if you read any of the actual fairy tales. I remember at the time I was writing, I don't know if I was writing for Film Inquiry at that time or not. No, I wrote this for Rise Up Daily. But I wrote a review of the movie, and I based it on Thomas Malthus and the idea of scarcity and things like that.
Yeah.
Because I was coming into my vague Marxist like phase, and I was like, "That's what this is. It's all about it." Yeah. And I maintain it still does have a lot of that, but what I enjoyed about this viewing is that I think the way he's able to wrap not only issues of scarcity and abundance, but also femininity and womanhood in general, and combine them in a cohesive commentary was pretty great. And it has a very so this is a thing for me. Do you remember the end of The Witch?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's rising in the air, laughing, whatnot.
Naked in the woods.
Naked in the woods. They're all rising in the air, all this stuff, and that's kind of where it cuts. So I recall the very first time I saw The Witch, I came away from that ending with mixed emotions, which is what I think Eggers was aiming for. But the direct discourse about that film after it came out was, this is empowerment for women, all this stuff. And I was like, did you watch the same movie I did? Because it looked like she was laughing and crying at the same time. And she was both terrified and pleased with this choice that she made. I was like, how is that like this die-hard empowerment message?
It's the feminist Fight Club.
It was so weird to me. I was like, did I watch the same film? Like, so every time I watched it, I would pay super close attention to that final scene. I was like, no, I didn't see a different film.
No,
and this movie has a similar ending. It has a similar ending where she's like, oh, I have this power and my intent is to do good with it. But then the classic fingers that the witch has start showing up on her fingers. And the music, there's a twang in the music, a minor chord that hits in that moment. And it's like, oh, but will she be successful?
Yeah. I think I've always taken the witch as a warning against this stuff. I mean, I don't think it's sermonizing, but like when I trace back even just 5 minutes prior to that scene, I'm like, oh, everyone in her family is dead in service of this. You know, I'm like, oh, this is not a good power. So, you know, that's you know, I mentioned Fight Club, and it reminds me of, you know, how the discourse about Tyler Durden is like, oh, isn't he so cool?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, no, just rewatch the movie. Yeah, rewatch the movie. But you know, to Osgood's differentiation in this, I think it's a little more hopeful in that, you know, she's given this choice to you know, fully embrace the power and to kind of eat her brother or let her brother be cooked or like not save him essentially, and she figures out a way to kind of break free while saving her brother. And she, you know, also, so there's this moment of goodness, but yeah, you know, it comes at this cost of now you have this power that will draw you to the darkness too, and
if you're not vigilant. Yeah.
If you're not vigilant, and basically, you have this curse, you know, the rest of your life. And I think that's kind of a powerful ending.
I find that
mysterious.
The visual of the black fingers to be super effective. Like, I don't know what he's going for with it, but just the imagery of that is just really powerful in my mind.
Yeah.
And plus, it's terrifying as hell with Alice Krieg, with her whole get up and the fingers and everything. When she's sniffing Hansel's hair and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then she pulls the lock of hair out of her mouth, which is one of the posters has that scene. She's pulling the lock of hair out of her mouth. So.
The Blu-ray that I got, that's the cover.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I will say it is kind of surprising what Osgood gets away with for a PG-13 movie.
Mm-hmm.
So this, I think that this is a very effective kind of young adult horror because it is actually pretty terrifying. Like the underlying ideas in it, and so it succeeds at that. And I mean, you know, you do get, there's not like a bunch of gore, or at least active gore, but you do get, you know, body parts kind of thrown around and turn into food. You know, there's a lot of very kind of surface level implied gore. So
Yeah, there's a lot of suggestion in this movie.
Yeah.
And very little that's actually shown.
Yeah.
I will say that the final scene where she takes the rod to the witch is freaking awesome. First off,
Mm-hmm.
the blue flame and like just the imagery of the boy crawling up the ladder and the witch burning and her with her hands tied to the table. It's just a really well composed scene.
Yeah, I think, and not to say that Osgood Perkins doesn't show an eye for detail in other movies either, but I think, and Longlegs twists on this. It's not all about this, so it's a little bit different. But this movie is very much, kind of sacred geometry or like unsacred geometry, whatever you want to call it. There's, everything is kind of laid out very, very simplistically in a sense, where you've got a lot of triangles, you've got a lot of squares, you've got a lot of circles, and there's a lot of detail in that way. I don't know. Have you ever watched like any Jodorowsky movies or Jodorowsky movies?
I tried to watch one of them, but I don't remember which one it was. It was years ago though, so I only have vague memory of it.
Was it Holy Mountain or
no? Because we talked about watching that. I think it was Santa Sangra.
Sangri.
Yeah. Maybe it was that one. I don't recall for sure, but I don't think it was Holy Mountain.
Yeah, this movie feels like he's pulling from him
Jodorowsky.
Jodorowsky. I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, very, very geometric and kind of weird in that way. So
the house too. The house is off-putting because it's almost inversion of that simple symmetry. So you have like the triangle, but then you have this weird like square / rectangle that like rams into the side of the triangle, and it never actually allows the triangle to complete. And you're like, something's off about this.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we've talked about this. We've mentioned this in all of the other episodes too, but Osgood Perkins has very famous parents who also died in kind of famous ways, and I can't help but notice all of his movies have a very, very prominent parental relationship. And this one, again, we mentioned it, Hansel or Gretel and Hansel's mom throws them out at the very beginning. But there's also a unique parent-child relationship going with the witch too. There's this story about this girl who has this power to basically make people do whatever she wants them to do. And it's, the girl's like a sociopath, and it kills her dad and starts wreaking havoc, and the town that this little girl, so this is like a folk tale in the movie, the town that the little girl lives in casts her out. And throughout the movie you think, oh, this little girl is the witch, she grows up to be the witch, and that's who we're dealing with. But it turns out, no, it's actually the little girl's mom who
embraces the darkness.
Yeah, ends up killing the little girl and eating her and eating the rest of her children because she's so bitter that this little girl, like, took everything from her.
Yep. And that scene, the scene with the red smoke.
Yes.
Oh man.
That
was beautifully done. All suggestion. You don't have to show anything else. Everyone knows what's going on there.
Yeah. I mean, you know what's going on because you're also being told it.
Yes. But you don't have to see any gore.
But you don't have to see the gore. Yeah, you see. Yeah. And it's not that Osgood is afraid of gore. I think Blackcoat's daughter and Longlegs, we've seen enough blood from him. But yeah, it is interesting to see him kind of play with the gore in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I found that, like, I don't know how I could have liked it any more than I already did when I first saw it, but I came away with even more appreciation for this movie than I even had before. And simply because of it does seem like he was very much attentive to detail with this movie. Like, this was his Fincher film. Like, he was like, I am going to be anal about how this movie is detailed and how all the parts are playing into ultimate meaning of what I'm getting at. I mean, the kids were great. Like the little brother is cute and not annoying, because it's really hard to pull that off. Plenty of movies that have cute kids that are just god awful annoying. But this kid pulls it off. He's just cute enough, and yet he's not, saccharine. And the relationship between them is really good. And I like the fact that they're fairy tales are always about the moral of the story. And what I like about what Osgood does with this particular fairy tale is he gives realistic meat to the bones of it. So, like, what was the relationship between Hansel and Gretel? What actually caused what was their home life like that caused them to go out into the woods? And in the fairy tale, they're leaving breadcrumbs behind so they can find their way back, all this stuff. But what was that like? Well, because it's fucking scarce and there was a plague, and you can't, in that system, you couldn't, if you can't work or you can't, do any of that stuff, you're not going to be able to eat. And so, of course, the mother threw them out because she can barely keep herself fed. And so, yeah, it's basically taking all of the, if you sit with a fairy tale long enough, all of the really grim, dark parts that you don't think about and that Disney refuses to think about. And you put it into the movie and you're like, oh shit, this is what fairy tales are actually like.
Yeah.
And I think he does a good job of, it would have been really easy of him to just focus strictly on the scarcity, abundance motif and just let that be it. But no, he ties in a lot of really interesting comments about how we pick those who become our parents and what we allow them to teach us, and also, what it means to be a girl growing up in a really patriarchal society, and various other elements that he kind of just ties in seamlessly without fanfare or anything like that. He's not hitting you over the head with it. He's just putting in just enough to, like, give the story some heft. So
yeah. So, do you think, kind of getting back to, a girl in the patriarchal society,
Mm-hmm.
kind of learning to be the strong, independent woman. Do you think this movie is kind of telling a feminist fable? And do you think the witch eating her own children is kind of a stand-in for abortion?
Oh.
You've got this idea
Yeah.
of scarcity. How could I imagine bringing a child into this world?
Mm-hmm. If that is a plausible reading,
Mm-hmm.
then I would say that would probably mean that the story has a very anti-abortion stance.
I
understandable stance. Understandable stance.
Yeah.
But I'd be worried if someone went into that scene specifically and came away with it with, yeah, fucking did it.
Yeah. No, I do think, I don't think that's what it's about. I think, it's drawing in parallels to tell something more. I don't know. I don't think it would be, you could probably read it as anti-abortion but pro-choice still, like trying to toe the line there. But I do, I think maybe kind of almost as an answer to the kind of feminism of the witch that's like, and of course all of our listeners are really excited that we are,
of course,
being the speaks persons for feminism.
I love being speaks persons for feminism.
I can't even say my normal words correctly. I don't know how to talk. But as kind of an answer to the empowerment reading of The Witch, this kind of confounds a little bit, where it's like, okay, you as a woman have this strength, have this, natural power. Gretel, what are you going to do with it? Where are you going to go in a world where there's you don't have a path to follow anymore? Like, your mothers and leaders have all kind of failed you, and the men are off doing their own thing and killing each other in war. But
I think that's the thing, though, is that if our political beliefs, well, even social and cultural beliefs, become so monolithic that they become a slogan, they become unrealistic, and they become unempathetic. Because
or mid,
they're
to go back,
or mid, in that you've traded out a monolithic principle for people. And I don't know if anyone knows this, but people are fucking messy. They're inconsistent. They're not rational. They're none of these things. And the second that you create that you become this like sloganeer for any position, you stop caring about people, and you start caring about this political party line, or this whatever this thing is. You stop seeing people where they're at. And I don't know if you know this, but there's a lot of really principled ideas out there politically and policy-wise that come from a good place, but they're shit ideas, and they don't help anything because ultimately they don't take into account what people actually need, if they ever did in the first place. So that's the problem, is like I don't want to come away from a movie saying, oh, this wave of feminism is the answer. No, I want to come away from a movie saying there's a lot of great things that this position has to offer, but here are the dangers, or here are the unknown consequences, or like I need to know that there's nothing perfect about this. There's no perfect solution to anything, and I need to be human ultimately. And this feels human. It feels hopeful in a weird way. Because clearly her heart and her head are in the right place at the end. She's attempting to use the power that she now has wielded for the light or for good. But then the fingers happen, and that can either be a drawing to the darkness, or it can be a reminder of what she could be and what she chooses not to be. And that's the more hopeful reading of the movie. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm actually glad that we did touch on that, because I really do think that's kind of in this movie, and it's also kind of flowing through a lot of Osgood Perkins. Like, weirdly enough, this guy, and we touched on why it was kind of weird that he makes these movies about female characters and women. And I think I'm gonna go into Longlegs, like, thinking about that, like, why is Osgood Perkins kind of continually doing this? What is he trying to say with this? And and not saying that there needs to be an answer. He could just be, I think it's interesting to write about characters that live different experiences than your own, and make movies about that. And I think that's a valid answer. But yeah,
he could just be the cinematic equivalent of Vibe Cat.
Yeah, Vibe Cat. Oh yeah, the cat. You're talking about the meme where there's the bongos in the back and the cat. Yeah,
the cat's just
absolutely.
Yeah,
that's Perkins. That's why we're perking on Perkins.
Perking on Perkins. And for anyone who wants to watch some Osgood Perkins, I honestly think this is one of the best places to start. It's accessible, and you don't have to, like, the worst place to start is I Am the Pretty Thing.
Yeah.
Unless you're high or on shrooms.
I think Blackcoat's Daughter is pretty good. A good starting point.
This is the most, like, accessible, even compared to Blackcoat's Daughter. And it's weird, don't get me wrong, but
especially if you're not looking for something that's so overtly, like, gory. There's gross things in this movie, but but you're talking about the difference between a PG-13 horror movie and an R-rated horror movie. Exactly. So, just keep that in mind. Well, anything else?
Nope.
All right.
I love me some Gretel Hansel.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm excited. All right, for Longlegs.
Yeah. Till we meet again.
Bye.